All right, let's go.
Okay. And action.
All right, welcome back to the For Pookie podcast. My name is Azaria.
And I'm Taylor.
Welcome back. Thank you for being here. So today we're talking about in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, which is already passed. We're talking about our favorite teachers, our best teachers, and then in honor of Creative Beginnings Month, which is the entire month of May, we're going to talk about some creative beginnings and our efforts at creativity. But first, let's do a check-in. Taylor, how are things going?
Um, you know, not better, but not worse, I don't think, because I remember last month we were just talking about, oh, I'm so tired, oh, this, that, and the other. I mean, I'm still tired and this, that, and the other, but I don't feel like it's anything worse. It's just what be happening in life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I am still very tired, still trying to find ways to schedule rest. That in itself feels like an oxymoron. To try to like make sure that I have time to rest. But I agree, it doesn't feel like any worse than it did last month. Some spontaneous expenses have come up this month, but I feel like that probably happens every month or every other month at the absolute least. That's just part of like being an adult. One of the parts I really hate. So there's that.
So I do want to put it out there that next Thursday, so it'll be the day after this airs, I do not work that day. Oh my God, you talking about rest, baby. I am not leaving my bed. So that's something to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something to look forward to. That's gonna be my day tomorrow. I have some errands to run today. I'm actually going to pick up some sushi today also. Treat myself for a long weekend. And then tomorrow, yeah, I'm not gonna leave my room probably, except to go to the
Mhm.
bathroom, get some food out of the kitchen kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's good to have at least one of those days every couple of weeks if you can,
Mhm.
um, just to help you sort of recuperate and stuff.
Usually I schedule out time on my calendar. I call it Tay Weekend where I do not leave the house, but
Mhm.
I can't always do that. But in June I am. So
Yeah. I'm trying to do one of those in June too, actually. Oh, I can't wait. Um, and I think I don't remember what I was gonna say just now. Sorry. All right. So, Teacher Appreciation Week, like I said, it's already passed. I am a teacher. I teach
how
at the
dare I? I didn't get you
level.
anything.
That's okay. That's
I
perfectly
feel
fine.
that now.
I teach at the college level. I now teach composition, beginning creative writing, and fiction writing at my institution. I'll be teaching fiction writing for the first time next semester. I'm really excited. I can't wait to put that syllabus together. So in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, who are some of your favorite teachers or the best teachers that you feel like you've had?
Mhm. First and foremost is Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. I don't know, Anderson, but she was like my seventh and eighth, or just one of them, English teacher. And I liked English, but I never like really was into the curriculum because I'm like, I don't care about Shakespeare, I don't care about any of this old English, da da da. But with her, we got to read The Outsiders, and that book was just amazing to me. I was like, holy crap, I'm just like reading it, reading it, reading it. And I don't know, I just remember her being so warm and welcoming. And I remember learning prepositions. Like, I just remember good things surrounded by Miss Anderson's class. And like, I was low-key bad in school. Like, I would skip and she would like find me in the hallway and be like, Taylor, just come to my office. And I'm like, and like, obviously, she's an English teacher, so she had books in there. So I would just like sit on the bean bag. She had bean bags and read books. And so, yes, best teacher. of the world is Miss Anderson at Northview High School. I wonder where she's at now. I wonder. I hope she's retired, girl,
Give my girl some time off.
please. And the worst teacher of all time is, and I'm mad I kind of forget his name, but that's also growth, so a little bit of both. But Mr. Lewandowski, he was a college professor of mine, and I remember he told me that I am a terrible writer. He said to me, to my face, Taylor, comma, you are a terrible writer. Not you're not good, terrible. And that just stuck with me. And I was like, I shall rise. So if I go back in some of my journals, like I talk about his comeuppance, but yeah, I just don't think that you should say that to someone who's taking a writing class.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think it's good that it like ended up inadvertently providing motivation for you. But like, yeah, I don't think that's something you should say to someone in a writing class either, especially because the whole idea of you being in the class should be to improve your writing. I remember my first creative writing class, my professor sort of gave this speech about like, this is not a class for you to like submit writing that you think is flawless and for you to like flex essentially on your classmates about how good of a writer you are. It's about submitting work that you think needs improvement so that we can help you improve it. And yeah, just to tell a student like you suck at writing, you're a terrible writer. You must be a terrible teacher then, because it's literally your job to help me become a better writer.
And like in my unpopular opinion, when it comes to writing classes, I just don't feel like there's enough time in between to like have something quote unquote polished enough because like I know how many rounds and rounds and rounds, there's no perfect whatever. So like trying to come up with a new story in a week and make sure that it's whatever correct and other homework. I always was like so stressed about that. And most of my classmates wrote sci-fi, and I'm the only one who's writing contemporary. So they're like, ugh.
Yeah, there's that too. Like, I don't think I've ever attended a creative writing class where you had to have something new every week. That's definitely not attainable for
Mm,
most people. For most professional writers, I would even say that's not attainable.
yeah.
And then there is often like this sort of like um I don't know, judgment for writing in a certain genre. I remember when I was so young. I was in like seventh or eighth grade, but I was reading a romance book. And one of my male classmates was like, "Ugh, I can't believe you read romance." And I was like, what do you read? He was like, I don't know, Call of the Wild, Catcher in the Rye. Like, oh, you're so like,
And I bet you $1 million
oh,
he didn't even understand it. So,
right. I'm like, who cares? Yeah, I don't like that either. And recently, this wasn't my experience at first in creative writing classes, but recently in the last couple of years, my professors have done talks where it's like you can write in any genre that you want to write in. Like you don't need to write literary fiction. You can write genre fiction, you can write sci-fi, you can write romance, like whatever. As long as you're like putting effort into the work and you generally want feedback on it. Um,
yeah.
like I don't get all the judgments. I think that's very, very silly.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Who
yeah.
did you say your teachers? Who are your teachers or teacher?
So my first just favorite teacher, I need to write her a letter because she's a principal now. Um, but her name was Miss Walker, and she was my ninth and 11th, I believe, grade English teacher at Warwick High School. She no longer teaches there. She's a principal somewhere else. But she was awesome. She was so great. She was like my first Black English teacher, my second Black teacher ever in general. And like you were saying, like just the books that she chose were great. We did read Shakespeare, and I do like Shakespeare. But it wasn't like a huge emphasis on him. We did like a Shakespeare unit. We did a unit where we read Sula by Toni Morrison. We did a unit where we read Farewell to Manzanar, which is a novel about Japanese internment during the Second World War. And then I want to say there was another book in there. It was a really creative class in terms of like our assessments. Like I remember one time for the Shakespeare unit, in order to demonstrate that we understood what was happening in the scenes, we had to act them out, either like rather than like doing an essay or like something like that. And that just, I don't know, it was really fun. And so I'll remember that like until the day I die. She was just a really, really good teacher, a really
Mhm.
coachable teacher.
Mhm.
My second one would be Jared Bryant, who was my first and second semester English teacher when I went to college. And I was an English major in college. I was actually a double major when I began. I was double majoring in English and elementary education, and then I dropped that elementary education very fast.
Oh, yeah, no.
I dropped it so quick, and then I picked up like a secondary ed minor instead. Um, and then of course a creative writing minor, so I had two minors. But he really like sort of gave me confidence in my writing. He was also the head and still is the head of the writing center. And so he hired me on there. Um, and then whenever he would talk to his class about visiting the writing center for credit, he would always recommend me as the tutor they should go to, and a couple of other professors would as well. He was also just really open, really approachable. He was also a chaplain, and like, I don't know, he really opened my mind to like the whole discussion about being spiritual and not religious.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know, just like the nicest
mm.
guy. And also his mom was always there, and I just really thought that was really cute. That his mom was always just around. And since you brought up a worst teacher, I'll bring up a worst teacher. Let's talk about my worst teacher. I don't even remember this man's name because
Yeah,
I blocked it out
right.
because his class was so traumatizing.
Ugh.
I believe it was eighth grade. He was a science teacher, and we had his class for the last period of the day. We would usually like just bring our book bags so that we could just leave class and go to the bus. He would not allow us to do that. And so we would have to go to our lockers and get our stuff. And so many of us missed the bus or like we're super late getting on the bus because of this. And the one thing that I remember more than anything, so I don't know if you had it, but like around this time, there was this like my gosh, this like video conferencing system that my school had, and we would use it sometimes in order to literally have debates with another middle school. And so we did that one time. I don't remember what our debate was about. I don't remember if we won, who gives a damn. But we had that happen. And then later in the semester, he's like, okay, we're going to do another debate with that school, but it's going to be next class. And we're like, oh shit. So we have just this class to prepare for this debate. And he's like, yep. And he gives us like the topics. It was not something that we had learned about in class. It's not something that we ever talked about in class. I want to say it was more philosophical. And this was just like, a run-of-the-mill lab science course. Um, and so we were all very confused. He was not willing to offer any more instruction, nothing like that. And so we worked through class to prepare for the debate. We do a bunch of research when we get home to prepare for the debate. And then we come to class the next day and we're terrified to have this debate, but we're like, okay, we're gonna do it. And um, he just starts teaching class like normal. And then halfway through class, we're like, what about that like debate thing you said we were gonna do? And he was like, I can't believe you guys really thought I was serious about that. I really can't believe that. Our class, last class was on April 1st. And we were like, oh, so it was a joke?
Ugh,
Yeah. And
lame.
I'm like, what are you mad at us for?
Mhm.
Mad. Oh my gosh. He like wrote up so many students for like going to the bathroom. We weren't allowed to go to the bathroom during his class. And so he would write students up for that. Like just the worst teacher. He created the most hostile learning environment I'd ever experienced. There was like one day where he got really mad at us because he told us that he was the youngest child in his family. He got really mad at us because he started talking about his baby sister. And we were like, you said you were the youngest. How do you have a baby sister? And he was like, because
Free.
she's my sister, but she's the youngest sister. So I call her my baby sister. And we were like, that's not what the term means. That's not what it means.
He's in jail today, honestly.
Like something. And like he was just pissed at us the whole class. And we were just like, he sucked. I don't
What
remember
grade was this?
the information. Seventh or eighth, one of
Uh,
them. Not sure which one.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just remember us all like dreading going to that class
Mhm.
every day.
Mhm.
But then after that, I got to meet Miss Walker. So,
Agreed.
all right. So, Creative Beginnings Month. The entire month of May is Creative Beginnings Month. I'm assuming it has something to do with spring, right?
Or
Spring,
the birth of Taylor.
I guess. Taylor's birthday is this week.
Okay. How to put that.
Um, I'm assuming it's like spring and like, rebirth, all that good stuff. Um, So, my question here, what does the idea of a creative beginning mean to you? And how do you approach starting a new writing project with that idea in mind?
Hmm. I haven't had an idea for a new project in a mint because I have all these works in progress that I'm like still attached to the point that they're not like drifting me away.
That's
But
great. That's never stopped me from having a new idea that I can't pursue.
yeah, and I'm like happy about that because I could not imagine if I was like sitting on this plus that, da, da. But I am going to talk about, I guess, what I'm currently writing and how that started. Um, how did it start?
Mm, I don't know.
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, no clue. But 9 times out of 10, what usually happens when I start a new project is one scene. I'll write one scene and never look at it again until I am like cleaning out my whatever or trying to think that or trying to prove to myself that this is actually what I should be doing. And then I'm like, ooh, that's good. And then I build off of that. So, yes. What was the second question?
What does the idea of a creative beginning mean to you?
It's a new for me because I'm able to like laser focus and not here, there, everywhere. It's a new, what was the question?
What does the idea of a creative beginning mean to you?
Oh, so yeah, I'm laser focused and I'm very quote unquote obsessive. So it's like all that I can think about. And it's a blessing and a curse for me because, like I said, when I'm honed in, I'm honed in. And I feel like sometimes, especially with something like this that I'm currently writing to publish, um, it's the blessing is that I have something that I want to work on to the end. The curse, in my unpopular opinion, is talking about it and talking about it and talking about it without so much progress that I deem worthy, you know? And then, especially for where I'm at now, considering I was supposed to have this book done like 2 months ago and I still haven't gotten it to Azaria, but tonight, girl, 8/7 Central, it'll be in your inbox.
Oh, yeah?
8/7 Central.
Okay.
And so, and then especially when it comes to publications, because it's not only the manuscript that I have to worry about, it's also the cover and um the book description. Uh, like there's just so many other avenues that I also have to focus on, but like right now my main focus is the manuscript and then once I send it to Azaria and then Azaria talks to me, I'm going to start working on my cover and I'm really excited for that. So that will be a new beginning.
So you said like when you have to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, like to who? Like in what context?
Just my fans. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I have a really good support system of people who are not readers or writers.
Mhm.
So they just want to like put me on blast every given day, which I totally appreciate, but
Oh,
sometimes I
like
don't have,
Taylor's a writer. Taylor's an
yeah,
author. Got you.
sometimes I don't have anything to give, and I'm like, I'm a failure.
Oh, never. Never, never, never.
Yeah. Hmm.
What does the idea of creative beginning mean to me, and how do I approach starting a new writing project with that in mind? So personally, because I've been like a reader for magazines and stuff, and I can only imagine what like a slush pile for an agent or an editor looks like. A creative beginning to me literally means a creative beginning. And so in anything that I write, the first line is very obviously and intentionally attention grabbing. Sometimes it doesn't work. So like sometimes in an effort to make the first line attention grabbing, it won't really function with the second line. Um, and I have to work on that.
Hmm.
But I try to do that with quite literally every section of a short story or chapter of a novel. The first line needs to be really creative and attention grabbing for the reader to get them interested. And I try to keep that momentum going through at least like the first few paragraphs
Hmm.
so that they don't lose interest right after that first line. Um,
So, excuse me, this first line, is it usually, um, what is it? Is it composition or dialogue?
Usually narration, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's not
Right. Oh,
dialogue.
yay, because I heard bad things about starting a chapter or a book with dialogue, and I'm like, to you.
I mean, for me, it's usually narration. If it's dialogue, then usually it's not going to be at the start of the novel or the
Oh,
first
you
few
mean
pages.
narration from the first person POV. What's narration?
Narration is whatever's not dialogue. Everything that's not dialogue is narration.
But is it from the first person POV? It doesn't have to be, you're saying?
No, usually I write in third person.
Okay, interesting. Never mind. Then cut everything I said before because over.
Hold on one second. I think this is Firestone. Hold on. Hello? So yeah, usually it's narration for me.
Gotcha.
And then how do I approach starting a new writing project with this in mind? So I do the first line thing. Sometimes and I'll start an outline. I never stick to the outline. I've said that before on this channel, but sometimes within my outline, I'll have like a first line already. So like if I'm thinking of scenes, sometimes I'll come up with the first line. And then every now and then I'll do a scene thing, so similar to you, like I'll write out a scene, but typically it's only like if the scene is like at the front of my mind for a while, I'm like, oh, I have to write this out. Um, so like for example, there's a novel that I want to work on, but I'm working on other stuff.
See, no, that pains me because I know that you're heavy-handed, i.e., you're the book that I have, and it's like
Oh yeah.
250 pages single space. Like, fuck off. I couldn't imagine like leaving that to go somewhere. No, no, no.
Yeah, and it was longer than that. I edited it down some. Um, but there's one that I'm working on about like I put it in my like work in progress video about this woman who like wanders all over the place. And there's a certain scene that I've been thinking about for months. And at this point, I'm like, I just need to write that scene out. It doesn't come up until the middle of the book, but it's just really, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but I need to write it out essentially. And then after I write that scene out, it'll probably serve as like a springboard for me to do the rest of it. So.
Do you write in chronological order for the most part?
I would say for the most part, but when I was a wee writer, spending all of my hours on Wattpad, one of the most helpful pieces of advice that I found up there was that if there's a certain, like if you're, for example, you're in a boring part of your manuscript and there's a scene coming up that's really exciting for you, then just write that scene and then come back and fill in the boring stuff. Because if you just force yourself to push through the boring stuff, then you might not even have the energy to do the exciting scene when you get there.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Okay, next question. How do you decide when it's time to leave a project and move on to a new creative beginning?
A new project? I have never done that before. Like I just said, like once this consumes me, it is whatever. But okay, no, listen. So actually, what I'm currently writing to publish next year, I queried and it was no, 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 no. Do you know that Megan Trainor song?
Yeah.
My name is no, my song is no. That was my querying process. And so I was like, okay, well, fuck off, fuck me. And I just like, and technically, I feel like I like gave up on writing altogether. And then I, like I do, I found another manuscript. And for some reason, obviously, better luck next time. I was like, oh, this will be better, but I'm not going to query it. I'm just going to do my thing, da da da. So that's how that happened to me for me. But now I don't. Um, have so many cooks in the kitchen telling me what they deem worthy. So I feel like moving forward, I'll be able to just hone in, continue my honing, and yeah.
Good. I mean, you like sat that one down, but you picked it back up, so that's good.
Because I was like reading and like hee hee ha ha, and I was like, I want to reread that one book. And I was like searching high and low for it. I've talked about this millions of times, but I was searching high and low for it, and I was like, why I can't find it. And somehow I found it because I wrote it, and I was like, these motherfuckers. How dare they say whatever, whatever about my story when as a well, excuse me, as a reader of what I wrote, I'm looking for it to reread.
Hmm. Let's see. For me, it's time to leave a project when I can't figure out how to make it work. Um, for example, there's one about a sheep farm that I told Taylor about, and I was so excited about it. It was like Jesmyn Ward inspired. And I was just really into sheep at the time. I was really interested in sheep at the time. I don't know why, how that happened to me, but I was just like, oh, I just love sheep so much. Like, I want to write a story about a sheep farm. And it started out as a story. And then I was like, no, like, I think this is longer than that. And so I made plans to make it into a novel. And I wrote maybe 3 chapters of it. And after that, I just couldn't figure out how to get the rest of it to work. And so I ended up scrapping that one. But for me, if I drop a project, I'm usually not going to like a new beginning. I'm usually going back to like stuff that I already started working on and couldn't make work before to see if I can make it work now. And sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's absolutely not.
But
Um,
also that your technique hurts my entire face. Sorry.
why?
It's just a lot. I mean, some people can multitask, but I feel like that's a whole other level.
Well, I mean, I'm only ever working on one thing at a time.
Right.
Or just like sometimes I'll stop working on something because I can't figure out how to make it work. And then I'll just go back and look at what else I stopped working on to see if I can now make it work.
See,
Uh,
for me, I guess the works that I do, they're like calling to me, to the point that I like I don't hear anything else. Like this is my quote unquote mission.
yeah, none of them ever stick out to me that much. Like if I am going through the trouble is not the right word, but it's the one I have. The trouble of like writing an outline or a potential outline for a novel, that means it is calling to me. So there are like 5 of them that are simultaneously calling to me. But the one that I sent you to look at just happens to be the one that I felt like I could make work at this moment. And then when I'm done with that one and I'm done strangling it and like making it fit into whatever, I'll go on to another one.
Don't you have to, aren't you giving this one to your advisor like this summer sometime?
He has it already. He
Oh,
had it
but
in
he's not
March.
able to read it until this summer.
Well, he, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. He said like, um, in March when we touched base, he was like, yeah, if you send it to me this month, like I'll be able to dedicate some time and attention to it. And then almost immediately after that, he was like, just kidding, fucking admissions and stuff. And so maybe he can dedicate some time to it this summer. Maybe something else is going to come up, even though admissions come up at the same time every year, but whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I already decided, like, I don't know if I told you, but like I had my meeting with Quentin last week about the edits that he proposed and stuff. My other friend that I gave it to here, she's supposed to get me some feedback this week or next week. And then if I have feedback from you by whatever date we set, um, then I'm just gonna go forward with what I have at that point because like I want to do some other stuff. And
Yeah.
because this one's at the
So
front of my head, I can't like do anything else.
my current to-do list is finish this goddamn book that I've been reading for months
Hmm.
and then get my manuscript to you. So I feel like after I get my manuscript to you, I can start on your manuscript. So perfect. And then I have Thursday off. So yeah, I have a lot of time to get to your manuscript. It shall be done. I just have to print it.
Well, great. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing any feedback you have.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, more than anything, I'm looking forward to like being done with this manuscript.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to move on to something else. I like the manuscript. I like the characters. They're also fucked up. I think it's so great, but I'm just ready to like move on to other things.
So I thought you were like technically writing something else. What do you mean move?
Technically.
Yeah, what do you mean move on?
I'm technically writing something else, but like I haven't worked on it in months.
Interesting. So what the fuck have you been doing?
It's hard for me to like divide my attention. I've been reading these books for this research project I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Correct, correct. All right.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
And my last question is what, this might be hard for you. What new writing goal, genre, or technique are you excited to try during P Creative Beginnings Month?
LOL. I wish I had 2 days off next week because I would totally do that. I'm still trying to do the Maya Angelou
Oh,
technique.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, but otherwise, when I can't do that because you have to wake up at an ungodly hour, homegirl wakes up at an ungodly hour, writes for 8 hours, and then edits it. I'm like, anyway, um,
Does not seem conducive to success for me.
eh, eh, first of all, it's the getting up at 5 a.m. that ain't working.
Uh,
So, secondly, like I said, my creative new beginnings will be my book cover that I'm so excited about because I finally realized I was like, oh, I'm writing a mystery. Oh, I'm writing a mystery. Oh, I'm writing a mystery. It is definitely like 60% romance, 40% mystery. So a friend of mine told me, she was like, lead with romance because romance readers can accept mystery in their book, but mystery readers won't always accept romance in their book. So,
I'd agree with that, yeah. Or if they do, it'd be like to a much lesser degree.
correct. And yeah, but honestly, I just feel like it's drama. I'm intrigued to see what you would categorize it as.
Oh, you know. Okay. I have a technique that I'm interested in trying. I don't know if it'll be this month, probably not, because I need all my feedback first. But in my novel manuscript, there are some flashbacks. I don't think I've ever read a novel that doesn't have flashbacks in it. Um,
I like,
and Quentin and I were talking about how I could format the flashbacks because just because of some of the stuff that happens in them, it's hard to understand the passage of time when they come up. And so we threw around italics, like everybody throws a flashback into italics. I don't want to do that. I
okay.
don't want to do it. I don't like the way it looks. This is nothing
Uh-huh.
against you or anyone else who uses italics for flashbacks. I just
No,
don't.
it's okay. That's just all I've ever seen. So continue.
And so Quentin told me about this writer, I think it's Benito Perez Galdós. I think that's his name. And when he does, he's long dead. But when he does flashbacks in his books, he puts them into like a play format. And Quentin was like, it was good because it sort of gives your eye a break from all of the narration in the text. And you just like move through those portions in like a different way. And so therefore it makes them feel different than like the present day of the text.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, like I'll try it. I don't know. When I think about it, I'll give it a shot. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to try.
You could
Um,
just do like one scene. You don't have to like.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna like take one chapter where there's a pretty prominent flashback and convert it into like a drama format and see how it feels, how it reads. I definitely don't want it to like lose meaning. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. And then I was throwing around another idea. Quentin said that he thought it might be too many, like too many different elements if I were to use this idea. But I'm probably gonna try it and see how I like it just in a small section. So there's a novel, a quintessential Black realism, magical realism novel that I've honestly never read,
By a black
but
person, right?
it's legendary. What?
By a black person.
No, it's
Oh.
called Like Water for Chocolate. And it's by a Latina woman. I don't remember her name, but it's called Like Water for Chocolate. And that's also the name of a Common album. Fun fact. But Like Water for Chocolate is about this woman who has like magic and she cooks food and she like imbues the food with magic. And at the beginning of every chapter, there's like a recipe. And in my novel, one of the sisters is like running for political office, and there are these newspaper clippings that pop up before her chapters. Um, they're almost like a what is it called? They're almost like an epigraph. So like when people have like a little
Huh.
quote at the beginning, they're
Uh-huh.
kind of like that because they're all really short.
Mhm.
And so I was thinking for the other sister, I might do like recipes because she was a culinary school graduate and she was on her way to becoming a chef. And then something happened and she had to go into hiding. But in this community of women that she lives in, she's like in charge of what they eat for the day. And then she's also like a conjure woman. And so she has recipes for like certain witchcrafty things that she does essentially. And so I was thinking of doing that as well. So I might try that. I'll try the drama one, see how they feel. But if
Huh.
I feel like it's too much, then I'll just cut them out. But I think it could be interesting and fun.
No, I think so too. That I okay, yeah. I'm really intrigued by the first one you said, like play format.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Love it.
Yep, and that's my last question.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
And on Glee, I love Glee so much. I was such a huge Glee fan.
Oh, interesting. Hmm.
You didn't know that about me? Ugh.
No.
I was there every week for Glee. I cried real tears when Corey Monteith died.
Hmm.
Really, real tears. And then when the episode and his tribute came on, it was called The
Hmm.
Quarterback. I cried during that too. My
Hmm.
dad was really confused.
Hmm.
He
I
was like,
didn't
"What's
get
wrong with you?"
into it until it was already over, so it was yeah. But
I am such a big fan. So Glee was 6 seasons. I've never seen the sixth season
uh,
because in my head, if
yeah.
I don't watch the end, it's not over. And
Oh,
I've just never seen it.
interesting.
Never had the desire.
So you haven't seen the season after Roots Before Branches because that is my song.
I do not know what song that is.
Well, you should because it was up until graduation.
Well,
Uh,
I don't know. I don't like remember every single song that they did on Glee.
Four branches.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
That is my song. If you are ever like wondering if whatever your creative outlet or career path is meant for you, listen to that song. That song and The Climb, they be putting me on.
I like The Climb. I've only heard it a few times, but I do like that song.
Oh, girl, sometimes I'll be writing and it just comes up on shuffle. And so I'll be writing like this, and then the climb comes on, and I'm like,
Like, I've only heard it a few times, but sometimes I will randomly say to myself, "There's always gonna be another mountain." Like I would say that to myself sometimes. You're always gonna want to make it move. I don't know the rest though.
is that your Miley Cyrus rendition?
That was my just regular run-of-the-mill country impression.
Okay, okay, because I'm like,
General country impression because she does not even sing like that for real. So
no. Okay,
she was definitely putting it on for The
that's why I
Climb.
was very uncomfortable. But um yeah. Yeah.
Are we doing goal?
I wanted to skip it because I don't know where our goals are from ABC.
Oh, that's okay because I was also thinking I don't remember what goals I set. So
Well, yeah, I wrote them down, but I just don't remember. And my bag is so far away. Our goal is to see each other in June.
yeah. Are we
Taylor's going to Nebraska, bitches.
so quick question. It would be a little late in June. I was gonna ask, are we gonna like film our podcast in person?
Yeah.
It would just be a little later because it's not till the
Or
20th.
we can film an episode in person.
Oh, and then just post it later.
Yeah. So are you gonna do this thing with me? Are you gonna read that book and we can talk about it on my podcast?
Sure.
Okay. So thank you for tuning in to this latest podcast episode of For Pookie, the podcast. That's not even what it's called. I just, whatever. Um, but what is something new that you will create or have created? Not so much this month, your latest creation. What is it?
Are you asking me?
No, I
Oh,
was
okay, I
speaking
didn't think
to
so.
the fans.
I thought so, but then like I thought you were staring at me. You were staring weird. My bad, my bad.
Okay, we're done. Oh.